There is a champion in Raid Shadow Legends that every time I face into it in arena, I get one shot, right? It is an absolute machine at just doing AoE damage and decimating my entire team. So today we're going to be visiting who this guy is, upgrading him and getting him ready to go as best as I can with the resources that I have. So let's get into it. So I don't know if you guys have ever faced into this guy or you have it yourself, but man, it feels great when you see that massive AoE splash out. And I am talking about Genbo the Dishonored, right? This guy is a total beast if he ever wants to be loading. There we go. He actually looks also pretty damn cool. Now let's real quick check out his kit. He's just level 40 in my team at the moment, right? Never really used him because, well, I just got him and that's it. Like, he's just sitting there, right? So what does this guy do and why is he such a menace, right? So if you want to join my team in Raid Shadow Legends, click the link in the description to get a free Narma as well as Anax, Uugo, and Mausoleum Mage as you progress through the game. Here's what you need to do. First of all, log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Then click the link in the description and register a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial, and then go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get a fresh start in Raid with a free Narma and 3 epic champs. Click on my link right now. He does have this A1 here, double hit each time. Each single hit he does is going to be stealing any increased attack buffs on the enemies. Each hit also has a 30% chance of stealing one random other buff, right? So you're going to be taking away any increased attacks and then also at the same time having a chance of stealing random buffs, which you can upgrade all the way up to a 50%. And then this increased attack buff you get from this ability in particular cannot be resisted, right? So you're going to be stealing it no matter what. Of course, it's going to be scaling everything based off of attack. Then the A2 is the following: AoE attack with an 80% chance of decreasing the duration of all buffs by 1 turn. And this effect cannot be resisted if it's a critical hit, meaning that this is a massive AoE attack, which is going to be having a 100% chance of basically serving as a bit of a cleanse. It's only going to be reducing the cooldown, or rather the duration of the buffs by 1 turn, but if that is just about enough to remove all the increased defenses or any amount of buffs, let's just say an unkillable, this guy is going to be going through it and doing all the damage possible. But if it's not going to be removing those buffs, well, it's still going to be serving as a bit of a cleanse. This is the AoE attack that does the entire thing possible. This is the one that he throws all the splash of lightning, which we will be seeing in a moment in the video as well, and you will see how hard it hits. And then before he does that, usually he's going to be placing a 30% increased crit rate on himself, as well as a 30% increased critical damage buff on himself for 3 turns and getting an extra turn, right? So what usually happens is this guy goes first, ideally, or close to first. He's going to be buffing himself with all this nice increased amount of damage he's going to be doing through it. Also on a decently low cooldown, 4 turns. And as soon as he does this, he's going to be getting another turn, and he's going to be going straight into the A2, doing the big AoE damage, right? The idea is he's going to be nuking everybody and just getting rid of them all. The A1 is still decent enough, as he's going to be cleansing, or rather stealing all those buffs from the enemy with a decently low chance. It's still only 50%, but it's alright, right? It's double hit, so you can potentially steal 2 buffs at once and guaranteed to be stealing the increased attack. And finally, he does have a passive where he is immune to decreased attack debuffs, also ignoring unkillable buffs when attacking when he has the increased attack buff. Now he does not have an increased attack buff himself, but you would definitely want to be pairing him with somebody that does. And yeah, of course you could steal it from the enemy, but you would ideally have somebody to buff him first with that increased attack and then get him to be buffing himself and ideally going before the enemy team, so he's just going to be decimating everybody. He also carries a 20% ally speed increase in arena on the aura, which is very damn great, and he's usually going to be used mainly just on arena, ideally on the offense, right? You want to be making sure you got this setup ready and you're just able to nuke the entire team ideally from the get-go, right? Everything else is kind of just like meh. He's alright in some scenarios, but he's not really a character you're going to be using in PvE, especially not unlike the endgame stuff like Demon Lord, Hydra, Chimera, right? The bossing style. He is also not fit for the kind of dungeons where you need multiple hits. He doesn't really do that many hits in general, right? So he's good for stuff where you're going to be stealing buffs, removing buffs from the enemy, academy or just arena in general. So we're gonna get this guy up and running, and then we'll go into the gearing section, right? So he's already level 40, and I do have myself some food over here which I can dump into him as we get him all the way up to 5 stars already. And I already got assembled enough food to get him to be fully 6-starred up, right? So before we do that, we need to be leveling him up, which of course I could go ahead and farm the campaign, or I can just also go ahead and use some of the potions, and that's going to be getting the job done, right? I'm fine with that. I just want to be getting it done. I could wait for a champion training event or stuff like that, but honestly, that's not fun. And yeah, whatever. We just had one, so it's no time any close for that to be done, right? So we already got him fully at 6 stars. We can also fully get him to 6 stars ascended, right? So we're doing quite some job on him today. We're going to do quite some work. He's getting the crit damage increases. He's getting fully ascended, as well as some decent base stat increases, right? So right now, what is he sitting at? Like, no crit rate, of course. We need to be scaling that up ourselves, but the base crit damage is already starting at 60%, right? The idea is for this to be as high as possible. This guy is supposed to be a one-shot machine, right? So we could also go ahead and try to get him fully leveled up. Let's see just how much that's going to be costing us. 756,000, and pretty much all our potions just to get him to level 60. Honestly, I do not really care, so there we go. We just got him done. He's fully leveled up. We don't need to be bothering with that at all anymore, right? So he's not ready yet, of course. We do need to put some gear on him, so let's see what's good on him. So of course this guy wants to be critting at 100% crit rate, so that is going to be first and foremost what you will need to be doing. Otherwise, the entire point of an attack champion like this is going to be thrown out the window, especially such a bursty champion, which ideally would like to get the job done in the first, or if not just the first turn, right? So we're going to be needing that crit rate all the way up to 100%. Then the crit damage will need to be as high as humanly possible, and then it's going to be a matter of getting him to be speedy enough so he can go before the enemy team, right? We will need our buffers to go before him, but then he will still need to be going before the enemy team is able to apply any form of CC onto him, as he does have no protection whatsoever. There's no defenses anywhere. He's just full on damage, right? So what else do we want to be putting on him? A lot of attack percentage, right? Everything on him, all the attacks are going to be scaling off of attack percentage, or attack that is, of course, but attack percentage will be the main source of attack we can go to, right? So it's going to be crit rate, crit damage, a lot of speed, and attack percentage. They are all pretty much just as important, but there we go. Just get a bunch of that stuff and he will be good to go. So what sets can we put on him that are really gonna be taking him out there and making him do as much damage as possible, right? So it's no question Savage is usually the main go-to for any attack champions. Ignoring 25% of enemy defense just means more damage in all scenarios, literally, right? So getting a 4-piece on Savage set will always be a very, very nice option. What else would be a very nice option? To get together with that Savage, we could put a 2-piece on crit damage, very easily accessible kind of set, and that would also just mean easier to scale that crit damage just as easy. Then we also can put on some cruel set on him as a 2-piece if we just want to be getting a little bit more attack percentage instead of the scaling up the crit damage, although I would personally be scaling up the crit damage. But this also comes with an ignore defense of an extra 5%, making it a total of a 30% enemy ignore defense, right? And cruel is also a decently easy set to come by. Then we could also go for speed. Just as a general rule of thumb, speed would always be nice, as you want to be making him decently fast. Now, his abilities do not really require match accuracy, although you will need at least some, so that you are able to get the effect of stealing the random enemy buffs happening usually, right? So you will at least need to be scaling that accuracy a little bit, and if you don't really care much about this effect, which in most cases you probably won't, you will at least need a little bit of accuracy to make this thing work, but everything else is just going to be pure damage. And there is really nothing else, right? This effect cannot be resisted on critical hits, meaning that, of course, you don't care about accuracy on here. That's just a buff. This is a passive, which doesn't require any accuracy. So it is really only a matter of this effect, which will be needing a little bit of accuracy. If it's not an increased attack buff, you are stealing. Now, of course, PvP is going to be requiring something a little bit more specific, right? So we will be wanting to put some stone skin on this guy, ideally to get the 4-piece rolling, so we can get that stone skin buff on himself. 12, but that is really defensive. Ideally, you will be wanting this in like late game arena. Otherwise, do not really care much about Stone Skin. It's going to be pretty hard to come by. The early buffs he's getting are all fully defensive, which he doesn't really care much about that. So yeah, it's really all just about getting that 4-piece if possible. And then, yeah, that will be getting you at least one turn so that he doesn't get blown up immediately. Lethal Gear would also be a very good addition here with the crit rate increase as well as 25% of ignoring enemy defense. It works just better than Savage because it's Savage plus something else, right? So if you have access to a little bit of lethal, that would be ideal. Now, this comes from the Doom Tower, so it's not that easy to farm yourself some decent level gear of the lethal artifact set if you're not able to farm the Doom Tower at the right level to farm the right material, so you're able to craft it at the 5 to 6 rank upgrade, right? Now, I did the best that I could with the gear that I have, but I just do not have the right pieces. I decided to go between the, the Cruel and the crit damage sets over here, but I just quite couldn't even put together a set for those two, right? So it's just a work in a project in the works. I did get some decent bring over here with a main stat attack and also attack percentage here, with also everything being attack percentage, or rather just difference percentage, HP percentage, everything's a percentage. I don't have a main stat neck with crit damage, so that's something for sure that I'll need to work on, as well as the banner here also having a little bit of attack percentage. I don't know, maybe I would need an accuracy banner to make sure that I do get that to a point that's like comfortable enough, but I don't know, really just a project in the works. Now, if you were going to be doing the masteries for this guy, and I currently cannot because I don't have enough gems, but I'll definitely be doing them eventually, I would be going for the crit rate for sure, and then I would be going for the crit damage, which is just really nice, and then I would be going down this path, and you can just straight up just copy what I'm going to be showcasing over here, right? So this would be pretty much a standard build for Genbo, as he is going to be using that for PvP, and there we go, just a little bit of all attack stuff, most importantly ending up in the ignore defense main, keystone, whatever. The Helm Smasher is going to be adding a little bit more of that ignore enemies defense, and then we'll be going for a little bit of defense here, as he's going to be quite weak himself, so decreasing a little bit of the damage intake he's going to be having is going to be allowing him to just stay in the fight a little bit longer. If he's not going to be going first, which for sure he will not really always be going first, then you will need a little bit of survivability, right? So you can get a little bit of that from all that I showcased over there in the defense tree. That would be what I would be going for, but unfortunately I cannot actually set it myself right now. So that is kind of how I would build my Genbo. For sure I would be putting in some relic that's going to be scaling up his crit damage. Something, for example, like this would be getting me a little bit of crit damage as well as a chance of dealing more damage. Yep, that is just quite about alright. Then I could also be using this, which would be a little bit more defensive. Overall, yeah, I think I don't really have the right tools to make this guy totally stand out as it is, at least right now. But yeah, we'll be working on that. 3% of the target's defense if the target is under 2 or more debuffs. This is kind of exactly what we would want, so this is not bad whatsoever. I could be getting a little bit more ignore defense even through using the Malefic Talon, right? So this guy's going to be a beast, but definitely a project in the works like many other of my characters, so I'll be doing a video further eventually showcasing him, right? Just so you can see some action here with him decimating the enemies. For now, that's going to be it, guys. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the next one. Bye-bye, see you!